Hi, I'm Dana, and today we're going to do a little video about being autistic and having unexpected things happen, having to change your plans, all that kind of thing. Because this morning I was going to go to a little queer coffee morning that I've been to previously. It was at a different venue this time, but I have been to like other meetup type events within that venue. So compared to a lot of the things that I've been going to and a lot of the things that I've been doing, I was really quite comfortable with this one, and I was still a bit anxious as I usually am, but I didn't feel as anxious as I do about a lot of things that I've been going to and a lot of things that I've been doing. I felt like I knew what to expect, I felt like I knew where to go, I felt like I knew who I'd be seeing, like more or less, like I knew that there'd be a familiar face or two, and I didn't feel too bad about it. So I got ready and I went down, and it was a coffee shop that's inside like a shopping centre type thing. So you walk through and it's on the left, and I looked and I was like, ooh, they're not where I expected them to be. Where I expected them to be, the tables were in a different layout to when I've been to like other meetup events at this venue, and they're not there. So I'm not sure where to go, I'm not sure what to do. And there's also a connected little room that I've not been in before, where there was like some sort of queer meetup happening, and they had a little rainbow sign in the window, but it wasn't a name of like an organisation I'm familiar with, it wasn't something I've been to, and it was also only men there, so I wasn't sure if it was like the queer thing I was there for, if it was like a gay man's event. Like all of a sudden everything that I expected wasn't there. It was all unexpected and new, and I didn't know what the fuck to do, and I just carried on walking and went out the back exit and carried on. And then I messaged my group chat and I was like, I don't know what to do now, it's all gone wrong, it is not what I expected, I don't know what to do. And it's the type of thing that I'm honestly really proud of myself for dealing with in the way that I did today, because it's not my first time doing it. It's not my first time that I've shown up to an event and been like, oh, actually I don't know what to do now, and I've just fucked off. Like I've probably done it more often than I've actually shown up to events over the course of my life, to be honest with you. I've done it a lot. And it's the type of thing that usually ruins my entire fucking week, if not like the entire month. I get so down on myself about it, because it's the kind of thing that with hindsight, I very easily could have, and that's the thing as well that annoys me with it being like an unexpected thing, is that if I'd gone into it being like, I don't know the venue, I don't know who I'm going to see there, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what to expect, I have no preconceived notions going into this event of what to expect, I don't fucking know. That's the kind of thing that I've been doing, and yeah, it makes me incredibly fucking anxious. It absolutely fucking terrifies me. But the fact that I don't know what to expect and I don't know what I'm doing means that I'm not comfortable with it. I don't know why I was going to say I'm quite comfortable, but I am capable of going in and being like, hi, I'm here for this thing. Where do I go? Who do I talk to? What do I do? And the people in my area are quite friendly now that I've moved, and it goes quite well. And they're like, oh yeah, you go over there, you talk to such and such. Like it's, you know, it might feel a little bit awkward. I will be physically shaking and absolutely fucking terrified while I'm doing it, but it's worked out all right, and it means that I find where I'm going, I get to meet some people and like have a nice time, you know? But the fact that it wasn't the way that I expected it to be, my brain just turned off. That's the thing that gets me with a lot of situations, and one of the big things that I think that non-autistic people don't understand about autism is, I know with hindsight that I could have just done X, Y, Z and it would have made the whole situation so much easier. It would have all been fine. You didn't need to get so stressed and overwhelmed, did you? But I did get stressed and overwhelmed. And when I'm stressed and overwhelmed, my brain is like, get out, go, get out of this situation. We don't know what to do here anymore. We don't know how to deal with this. We don't know how to like overcome this situation. So get the fuck out, just leave, just go. Like there's lots of things in life that I'm capable of and lots of things that I'm able to control. When my brain decides it's time to just switch off and be in like pure fight or flight, I don't feel like I have any control over that. It's just what happens when I'm really overwhelmed, it happens when I'm really overwhelmed, and things like changes and unexpected things, and when I feel like I know what I'm in for and then it's actually very different. They're all things that like massively overwhelm me and make it feel like I'm no longer in control of what I'm able to do. I just need to get out of the situation. That's when I can think about things and breathe and be like, oh, I should have just done this, that would have been really easy, I didn't need to be like that at all. But in the moment, I just don't have that capability. But getting back to like why I think I dealt with it well today, and I do feel quite good about myself. And I think that first and foremost, one of the really big things is that I live in a nice place. So when I went in and was like, oh fuck, I can't do this, and left, a lot of times when living in Liverpool, like it's a big fucking city, when I leave the venue, when I leave the place that I was there for, I've already had to get transport into the city, like public transport. I've been on a train or a bus, and then I've gone to this thing, and then I've been overwhelmed, and then I exit, and there's a load of cars, there's a load of people, there's a load of fucking like bright lit up ads, because every ad is now digital instead of just a fucking poster, so it's all lights. Like, it just, leaving venues in Liverpool, I almost always had a meltdown. Like, not like if I'd had like a nice night out and then left the venue, but like if I was already overwhelmed, if I was already not having the best time, if I was already like, I need to leave this situation and get home, exiting the venue to then be in a fucking busy, hustling city, meltdown. I'm 100,000% having a meltdown before I'm actually going to get the bus or the train home, and then I'm going to have another meltdown when I get home, and then I'm going to go into the spiral of like, I'm so stupid, I'm so ridiculous, why can't I just go to an event like everybody else, why can't I just ask questions like everybody else, why can't I just XYZ like everybody else? And it's incredibly distressing, and it becomes an entire fucking thing. And the majority of times that I've brought it up to people and tried to like reach out for support from people in my life and things like that, they've thought I'm a fucking idiot. They've made me feel like an idiot. They've treated me like I'm an idiot. It's been very like, well, you could have just asked, you could have just done this, you didn't need to go off and get all upset, did you? You're just being silly. And it's made me feel awful. Whereas obviously this time I had the combination of like exiting the venue meant I was on a quiet little side street and there was no one there and there were no cars and it was very quiet, and I could just like stand there for a minute and breathe and be like, what am I doing now? I could message my group chat, and one of my friends suggested going for a walk by the river, so I started heading towards the river, and then I was like, I'm going to stop off in a little charity shop, because they all smell a certain way and they're very quiet, and I can just like look at some old shit and breathe and like deal with this. So I did that, and then I went off and got a coffee, and then I was like halfway back to the river and I was like, oh my god, Keely Hawes is on today's copy of Grazia. This month's Keely Hawes is on the cover of Grazia, go buy it. Like, I'm very happy with it. So I went back to Sainsbury's and bought that, and then went down and read a little bit of it by the river and had a little walk along the river, and then came back up and came home. And I went through a new path to get home as well, and they're all like fucking bluebells all mixed in with the trees. It was very pretty, and I just very much took time to be like, I'm out now, I'm out in the world, I'm just going to try and have a nice little time. And it's a hell of a lot easier when like I can get my little comfort drink and it makes me feel a little bit bougie, a little bit special, a little bit fancy. I can get my little special interest magazine and some little books from the charity shop and just make myself less overwhelmed and deal with the emotions and process that that's how my morning's gone, that's how that's happened. And do I feel great that I wanted to show up for an event and then just like fucking backed out and didn't know what to do? No, I don't feel particularly good about it. There is a massive part of me that's like, but you could have met your new best friend, you could have met so many connections, this could have changed your life, this could have been like the big moment, and it obviously won't be now because I didn't fucking show up. Like, no, I don't feel particularly good about it, but I'm definitely not beating myself up and hating myself and feeling awful about myself in the way that I often have. And I do think that a massive amount of that is being able to more so accommodate to myself as an autistic person, being more aware of my like capabilities and what I'm actually able to do, and having been to a lot of things recently. So it's like, yeah, it's not ideal that I didn't make it to this thing. It would have been nice to go. I'll go to other things. I've been to other things. There's a lot more balance in my life now. I've had so many years where like I have one event every 3 months, and it feels like if it doesn't go well and it's not the right thing and I don't have a good time, then it is the end of the fucking world, because this was my one big attempt at like getting out in the world and meeting people and being a person, and I fucking failed it, you know? Like, that feels a hell of a lot worse than when it's like, yeah, the event that I had for today didn't go the way I intended it to. It didn't work out for me. It didn't make me feel great. I've got my next little thing happening on Thursday, and that'll be alright. Probably, I hope, fingers crossed. And we're also now on like year 4 or 5 of me trying to get my like internal monologue and the way that I speak to myself to be more similar to the way that I would speak to my friends. And, you know, like putting consistent effort into something for years on end does tend to actually pay off. Who knew? What a surprise. So it's things where like my automatic internal dialogue a couple of years ago would have been very like, how fucking pathetic. You can't even go to a stupid fucking little event. All you had to do was go in and buy a coffee and be like, oh, where do I go for this? And you just got all overwhelmed, did you? Like, fucking hell. Like, I would be calling myself a baby. I would be like, this is why you can't make friends. This is why you can't do X, Y, Z. And saying it all now, It's the horrible thing of being like, oh, so my internal monologue previously was just my mother. It was just the things that my mother said to me when I went to my mum being like, oh, I couldn't do this thing, or I've had this hard time, or like, you know, things that you would think you would be able to talk to your mother about. That was how she responded to me, and then that's what my internal monologue became. But after doing this like consistent effort of like transforming the way that I think about myself and the way that I speak to myself into being more the way that I would address a friend, I've managed to actually get to a point where my initial thoughts are more along the lines of like, oh, you gave it a go. At least you tried. Like, sure, this isn't great, this isn't the best, like, you could do fucking better, couldn't you? But you often do better, tying into my last point, and saying do. And also, like, I would never, ever be mean to a friend for doing that. You know, I'd be like, hey, you fucking got yourself there, you got yourself ready, like, you tried your best, you did what you could. Like, it don't always work out, it's not gonna happen every single time, but, you know? Like, if I was talking to a friend, I would be nice. And I also, like, there are some times when, it's hard having friends that watch your videos. We all have times that your friends are dealing with something or struggling with something. You do kind of think it's a little bit silly, but you're also aware of like, well, it's not me, it's not my situation. Maybe if I experienced that, I would also find it difficult. I simply don't know. And like, you're still gonna be nice and you're still gonna be supportive because they're your friend, but maybe like, it's just not something you struggle with and you are a bit like, oh, right then. But that's obviously like, I haven't asked the person that's experienced it. Obviously, if my friend was going through that, it's something that I very much have a lot of empathy towards because I go through it. And I would very much be like, you did fucking great for trying. Like, I've had friends that have done the same thing because I have mostly autistic friends. And when it happens, I am genuinely proud of them for having given it a go, for putting their all in, for trying their best. And like, yeah, it sucks that you didn't get to go and do the event and have the fun time that you fucking like put all the stress into getting ready for. But like, you did, you might not have done it, but you did it, you know? And it's really nice to be in a position where that's starting to be more of my like initial automatic internal dialogue. That's more of the way that I'm just automatically speaking to myself, you know? The years and years of correcting the thoughts as they come up and being like, no, don't think about that, don't say that to yourself, don't think that about yourself, has actually started to have an impact on the way that I automatically think about myself. And it's quite nice, it does make me feel a lot better. And who knew that being kind to yourself and making yourself feel better and like having self-soothing thoughts is actually a lot better for your mood and mental health than just like constant self-deprecation. Like, it actually, who knew? What a surprise. I know that I'm the first person to have ever suggested this. And I also think that like a massive part of why I'm able to come home and continue to have a nice day and like soothe myself and deal with myself and re-regulate is that I've put a lot of work into my like day-to-day life. I've tried really hard to make my home cozy and into a really safe place. I've put a lot of effort into like I have my jigsaw puzzle out on the table that I'm getting pretty close to completing now. I'm not gonna lie, it's been weeks, so I should be. But you know, like I just, when I feel like doing my puzzle, I go and I sit down and I do my puzzle. I've got my desk upstairs now, so I have like an actual space to do art and be creative. I have my kitty cat that I get to play with and hang out with. You can't see him, but he's here. I've got my little local walks that I like going on. Like, I have the majority of things that I do with my day are things that I enjoy doing, things that soothe me, things that regulate me, things that just, it's quite slow living, self-care, looking after myself mentally and physically. I'm doing my best. I'm trying really hard to get better about eating and about food. Like, I'm going to have some lunch today, look at me go. You know, like things like that. Just, who knew? Actually trying to accommodate to yourself and build a better life and be kinder to yourself, eventually it all starts to actually pay off. And it's in these moments where like I just know that a year ago, you know, like 6 months ago, if I'd had this happen, I'd have thought it was the end of the fucking world. And like, that's the thing as well, is that a lot of things feel like the end of the fucking world to me. You know, like there's a lot of moments that it feels like everything is fucking over, everything is wrong, nothing is ever going to be right or nice again. I'm never going to feel like emotionally regulated or comfortable or soothed, and like everything's going to suck forever. Like, it feels like that a lot. And in feeling like that a lot, you obviously start to get used to the fact that like it might feel like that in the moment, but in an hour, in 2 hours, in a day, it's probably gonna be alright again. It's not actually the end of the world. And yeah, like, I don't mean to brag and be like, all of my hard work's paid off, guys. I'm like so sorted now, because it was still really difficult and I felt very distressed, and it still took a lot of effort to soothe myself and regulate myself and to feel better. And it's also like, you know, the years of continued consistent effort that I've put in that's made me a lot more capable of dealing with this and a lot more capable of soothing myself and regulating myself and blah 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 blah. All the things that I've said. We're getting really close to the end of the video now, so my words are starting to leave me a bit. I very rarely get mean comments. The vast majority of you are very, very lovely. And when I've talked about this with like other things in the past, everyone's been like very quick to like reassure me and be very nice. But I'm still so scared that I'm going to come across as bragging anytime I mention anything remotely positive. But I do very much hope that this is more along the lines of showing that work pays off. Like the stuff that you're doing now, if you haven't gotten to a place yet where it feels like it's really paying off and you're really seeing improvements in your life and the way that like things affect you and the way that you're able to process and the way that you're able to regulate and all of those things, it takes its time. It really takes its time. And it takes a lot of fucking hard work and it's very difficult and it's a whole lot. But I do very much think that it pays off and I'm seeing the effects of it paying off and experiencing the effects of it paying off. And yeah, life isn't easier. My life hasn't gotten actually easier, but things feel a lot easier to cope with when you're more regulated and when it feels like you're more able to process things. And it might not be easier, but it's a whole lot less anxiety inducing and I get down on myself a whole lot less and I have a whole lot less like horrible spirals of just feeling awful about myself. And it does pay off and you do get to actually feel the positive effects of it and things do get nicer, you know? And I was so relieved to be about to be done with talking, but I actually am adding an extra little bit at the end of my video currently, and I'm really trying hard to figure out a way of doing this that doesn't feel awkward to me. But one of my absolute best friends in the world currently has a GoFundMe up because their partner is not able to leave the house safely without being further injured or having a bunch of pain caused to them because they have a wheelchair user and they have an absolute array of different disabilities and chronic illnesses that make transport really difficult for them. So they're not able to go out and have fun an awful lot, which I think is a massively important part of life personally. And beyond that, they're also not able to get to medical appointments safely. They're often further injured on the way to medical appointments. They often need to go to A&E and unexpectedly have to go into hospital, and whatever they have going on is made a hell of a lot worse by the unsafe journey there. So my friend has a GoFundMe up so that they would be able to buy an adapted van so that they can safely transport their partner and get them to medical appointments and go out and have fun times together and just generally like go out and exist and be a person in the way that they deserve to be able to, you know? And like, you guys know that I feel awkward even asking people to follow me, and that's like the point of having a YouTube channel. So I do feel all the more awkward being like, give my friend money because I told you to. But also like it's the friend that paid my fucking deposit so that I could move here, you know? Like they have beyond any financial aspect, that they're one of the most just supportive and lovely and kind friends that I've ever had in my entire fucking life. They're just a delightful person and I think they deserve every good thing in the world. And beyond them being my friend, I think their partner deserves to be able to get to like fucking medical appointments and live their life and get around and just exist as a person without being consistently put into more pain and being injured. And I would hope that a lot of you guys would agree with me on that front. So it would just really mean a lot to me if they're able to actually get this. It would make their life so much easier. It would make obviously their partner's life a lot nicer and a lot easier. It would mean a hell of a lot to everybody involved, all of their friends, all of the people in their life. It would be great, okay? It'd be fucking brilliant. So if you are in a financial position to be able to donate, I would deeply appreciate if you did. If you're in a position to be able to just share it about and try and get more eyes on it and have more people see it, I would deeply appreciate that. Obviously, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm able to do. And obviously, if I'm trying to share something and get more eyes on it, I'm going to mention it on the YouTube channel where I have almost 17,000 subscribers, and I'm sorry, I hate it. But I much more hate the fact that my friend's partner can't do anything safely and without pain. So it'd be really nice if we could get them into a position where they're able to do that stuff. So I'm going to go now. Thank you for listening. Oh my God. Whoever you are, wherever you are, if you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And I will see you again in a couple of days with the same awkward little spiel at the end.